Hi students, let's look at this concept here. So for this concept here, we are looking at what is a formula. So I believe we have learned some formula in primary school before. For example, area of rectangle, which is area of rectangle equals to length times breadth. So for this particular concept today, we'll just be learning given some values of the variable. For example, if we are given area of rectangle, it's 20 cm square, and the length is given as 5 cm, and the question asks us to find the breadth of the rectangle. So how do we find? So using this formula here, we can find out the breadth of the rectangle just by replacing the area of rectangle with 20 and the length of the rectangle by 5 cm. So let's try it out. So area equals to length times breadth. So area is 20, length is 5 cm, and breadth is just breadth. This is what we need to find. So in order to find out what is breadth, I need to take 20 divided by 5. So B equals to 4 cm. So for this particular concept here, all we need to do is to identify the formula given in the questions. And using this formula given to us, we are able to identify the relationship between the variable. So for example, in this case, area of rectangle equals to length times breadth. So given that the area of rectangle is 20 cm square, and given that the length is 5 cm, how do we find the breadth? So in this case, we just take 20 divided by 5, and this will give us the breadth. So all we need to do for this concept here is to find the unknown in the formula. So the formula will be given to us. All we need to do is to find out what is the unknown given the values of some variables in the question. So let's look at some example here. So for this case, we are trying to find the unknown in this formula. So the formula given to us is volume of a cuboid equals to length times breadth times height, as you can see by the highlighted words. So in part A, they give us the length, they give us the breadth, and they give us the height. So how are we able to find the volume of the cuboid? So given this formula given in the question, we know that volume equals to length times breadth times height. So all we need to do is just to replace or substitute the length as 5, the breadth as 2, and the height as 3, and we multiply them together, and this will allow us to find out the volume of the cuboid, which is 30 cm cubed. So this is just level 1. So for me, right, normally, I'll try to write the times in terms of brackets. Why? Just in the event that I'm dealing with negative number, I wouldn't confuse myself with -5 times -2 times -3. When you see so many operators together, right, you might get confused for you. So I would like to use the brackets instead in place of times. So in part B, we are given the volume as 240, and we are given the breadth, and we are given the height. So how are we able to find the length? So given this equation here, I know that volume equals to length times breadth times height. So volume is 240, length is question mark because this is what we want to find, and the breadth in this case is 6 cm because it's given to us in the question, and the height is 5 cm. So I know that 240 equals to 6 times 5 is 30, 30 times L is 30L. So I know that 240 equals to 30L. So this L over here, right, don't be afraid by it. We can just treat it as 30 units. So 30 units is 240. So how do we find 1 unit? So I need to divide both sides by 30. So 240 divided by 30 equals to 30 L divided by 30. So in this case, I know that L equals to 8 cm in this case. So for this type of question here, right, all you need to do is to find out what is the formula, what are the value given to us, replace into the formula, and find the unknown that we need to find. So let's look at question 6. Same thing also. So even though some of you might not have learned the circumference of a circle, but it's given to us in the question. So circumference equals to 2 times pi times r, where r is the radius of a circle. So in part A, they tell us that the radius of a circle is 6 cm. So how do we find out the circumference of the circle? So first step, to help you better, you write down the formula first. So the formula is C, which is the circumference of a circle, equals to 2 times pi times r. So you want to find out what is the circumference, and we are given the radius. So I replace all my variables with the numbers given to me. So 2 times pi times r. So r is 6 in this case. So next, all I need to do is to key into my calculator. So after I key into my calculator, it tells me that my circumference is equal to 37.699111843 cm. So if let's say the question didn't ask you to round off to any decimal place or significant figure, just leave your answer as the full value. So in part B, same formula also, but in this time round, they give us the circumference of the circle, and they ask us to find the radius of the circle, and they ask us to round off my final answer to 3 decimal place. So in this case, I know that the circumference of the circle is 24 cm equals to 2 times pi times r. So to find out the radius, what do I need to do? So 2 pi r, it means 2 times pi times r. So in order for me to find out the radius of a circle, all I need to do is just to divide by 2 pi. So now I just need to key into my calculator. So for radius, okay, so all you need to do is just to write out the full value, and afterwards you need to round it off to 3 decimal place. So 1, 2, 3. So to round it off to 3 decimal place, I need to look at the 4th digit. So since the 4th digit is 7, I need to round up. So my radius will be equals to 3.820 cm and 3 decimal place. Okay, so don't be afraid by this type of question. It's always the most easy question to score marks. So let's look at the next one, question 5. So for question 5, right, same thing also. They tell us that some countries use Fahrenheit to measure temperature. So in order for us to convert from Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius, I need to apply this formula here. C equals to 5 times F minus 32 divided by 9. And in order for me to convert from degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, I need to apply this formula here. Fahrenheit equals to 1.8 degrees Celsius plus 32. So let's do it. Part A first. So in part A, they ask us to convert degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So that means I need to use the second formula. So F equals to 1.8 C plus 32. So since I want to find out what is Fahrenheit, I need to replace my degrees Celsius with 35 degrees. And I add 32 because this is the formula given to us. So all I need to do now is just to key into my calculator and find out this value.